Yang ni dah kan, yang ni dah. Today I'm going to discuss about tutorial, which is a tutorial for chapter 5. So dia ada, in total ada 5 soalan lah. I will go through quickly, but I think I'm not going to go through some of the tutorial in detail lah. So yang chapter 1 part 1, I think the tutorial quite straightforward, then followed by part 2 and part 3. Ada tak soalan yang you dah cuba tapi tak dapat answer dia? Semua tak cuba? Ada kan? Part 2 or part 3? Yeah, so I think I will go through every single tutorial. Tapi mungkin ada some of the tutorial I might go through relatively. Saya tak akan cover semua lah, tapi I will discuss. Saya cuba nak discuss semua soalan, tetapi mungkin tak akan so detail for certain soalan lah. Okay, so kita don't waste our time. We start with my mindset still in the meeting just now. Saya masih belum habis kan? Meeting belum habis. I'm here because we have a class. So okay, let's start. Tutorial. This is tutorial for part 1 chapter 5. Tak ada orang remind saya lagi nak record kan? Alamak, lupa. Nasib baik sebelum start saya ingat pula nak record.
Record atau record.
Ya lah. Sebab saya punya otak masih dekat meeting tadi dah, belum balik kepada management saya. So perlu adjust sikit lah. Cut off the video. So I start record. So okay, so good morning everyone. So we're going to talk about the tutorial solutions for chapter 5. So chapter 5, there are three parts. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. We start with tutorial solution for part 1. Part 1 is dealing with slack and subplus. So this is the first tutorial for chapter 5, part 1. This tutorial, you should have done the solution of this tutorial in chapter 4. Okay, and in order for you to answer this tutorial, you have to refer to the solution that you have done in chapter 4. This is the one. So tutorial is the same as what you did in chapter 4, but we expand the soalan to cover the unused resources. So in order to answer these questions, you need to refer to your solutions in chapter 4. And this should be a solution in chapter 4. So the solution in chapter 4 suggested that the optimum point is point C, which is x1 equal to 6, x2 equal to 3.2. So it depends. Some of you might get different answer, 3.0, 3.5. It's fine. Tetapi when come to these tutorials, if you get different from 3.2, you might have different answer for the unused resources. So now we stick to the optimum solution is 6, 3.2. Ini adalah solution yang dapat daripada chapter 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace this optimum solution. Sebab apa? Because the question asks for, is there any unused resources? So when the soalan is addressing resources, so the next thing we need to refer to is a constraint. So I'll just do one. So in order to deal with this soalan, langkah pertama, you have to convert this inequality to equality. So what you should do basically is adding a slack. Why I know it's a slack? Why it's not a subplus? It's because the symbol here is smaller or equal. Therefore, I know it's a slack, not a subplan. So I want to add in a slack into this formula of this linear programming of constraint. So what I will do is, because it's a slack, I know it's a slack, therefore it's a plus x1. Then by adding a slack, I can change it in equality to equality. Then I start ganti, then I will replace or substitute the x1 and x2 into this formula plus x1 equal to 80. So from there, I know this is 80. This is 80 plus x1 equal to 80. So s1 equal to 0. So what does it mean? It means there's no unused resources in the lab. Lab fully utilized. That's good. Okay, never mind. I do another one. Another one is this. A quick one. Convert to equality. Again, I know this is a slack. For constraint 2, it becomes 2. So equal to 36. So I replace this into replace the optimum solutions into here. So this is plus, what is that? 19.2 lah. So x2 is equal to 36 minus this. This is 31.2 lah. So equal to 4.8. It means that there is unused resources lah. There's unused resources in terms of the goods. There are 4.8 units of wood unused in this case. Okay, so what you suggest to do for this 4.8 unit of extra wood? What's the suggestion? What should I do next? That is what the question asks. That I calculated. There's no unused resources for labor, but there's unused resources of wood. Propose the net cost of action. What will you propose? What should I do? Chris, what should I do? Sorry? So I can't hear you. Reduce purchase quantity. Lafira, correct, exactly. Betul, reduce. So you have to reduce. Chris, why I didn't replace this? Why I didn't replace the optimum solution into the third constraint? Why I didn't do this? What? Yeah, it's not resources. Exactly, good, okay. So, soalan solution dia ada lah dekat slide. Okay, reduce. Okay, now I want to ask you a question. Important also lah. You must listen carefully. Example, this is theoretically calculated that if I producing this quantity, then in the end I should have extra 4.8 units of food. Okay, in the production. I should have this in the production. However, if today I'm the boss, I go to the production, I expect I should able to detect there's 4.8 extra wood, 4.8 unit of wood that left in the production. But when I go there, there's nothing left there, zero. What is the possible reason? What are the possible reasons? You get what I mean? Based on calculations. Yeah. Okay, so what are the possible reasons?
I think there is wood yang rosak, Doktor.
Loss. Betul. Loss means because quality. Quality maybe can be because quality of the wood is, and it could be also lost because of production. Production is not effective enough. The loss can be contributed by something I learned last semester. wood itu the wood ada result lah. As what what quite common. We have quality issue. The wood can be rejected. Oh, it could be production ineffective. Okay, so this is a possible thing that I might ask you. Tutorial 12, to speed up. Tutorial 12 is the same, but now this tutorial, you have done this in chapter 4, and this should be the solution that we developed in chapter 4, and the optimum point is this. Optimum point is B. And again, I need to replace this into the constraint, three of the constraint are resources. And then now I will do the same thing, but maybe I will just do one of the constraints. I'm not going to repeat all. So example here. Now, because this constraint is come along with a symbol of greater or equal, by referring to this, I know that it must be a surplus instead of slack. Because it's bigger is no more unused resources, it's existed resources. So it must be negative x1, then equal to 6. Then subsequently, I replace or substitute the optimum point into the constraint 3, 1 plus 3 minus x2 equal to 6. Then x2 equal to 0. There is no existed requirement on antibiotic 1. Means the formula of the drug call for 6 units of antibiotic 1. And the actual quantity of antibiotic 1 in the drug is also 6. There's no existed antibiotic 1 in the drug. Okay, itu yang the first constraint. I will not do the constraint 2 and 3 because sama lah dia lah. I'll show the solutions. I have done this in the previous slide. I did it in the previous slide. You have to do the same thing for antibiotic 2, adding x2, and then antibiotic 3, adding x3. All right. So antibiotic 2, we also found that you should also found that there's no surplus. There's no existed antibiotic 2, but there is 8 units of existed antibiotic 3. What you propose? What would be your suggestion? Anyone? What would be your suggestions? Chris? No? Reduce the quantity, but the scenario is different. The scenario is you're not buying the antibiotic. I think you're buying the ingredient. So you have to deal with the ingredient. You have to deal with the ingredient. So basically you have to source for a cheaper ingredient with lower content antibiotic. Just like the super grow and the quick crop, you're not able to control the content. You're only able to control the material. So you need to source for cheaper and lower content. What does it mean? It means like this, the formula of the drug call for 12 units of antibiotic 3. Okay. But in reality, the number of antibiotic 3 that's incorporated into the drug is 20. Therefore, the lebih antibiotic 3 in the drug by 8. Rugi lah. Rugi is a big loss. The requirement only need 12. You provide 20. So you need to try to find a way to buy a material that have lower antibiotic. Oh, we need that. Yes.
Sell the antibiotic for money.
Can.
Okay.
In fact, if I'm a student, I like this type of question, because the next course action, you can go beyond the box. Whatever the logic, then it's all right. Okay. You can use the antibiotic to produce another drug, for example. There's also another one, is it? You can produce another drug. Okay. All right. Then yang ini okay, I think this one quite straightforward. Ada siapa yang tak clear untuk part 1? If not, then we go to part 2. Clear, okay, good. Part 2. This one I don't like. Oh, it's recording, but it's okay lah. Thursday, normally a lot of faculty meeting and this proposal defense, everything is on Thursday. So the meeting that I attended earlier, it's not end, no. I need to join back once I finish my class if the meeting is still ongoing. Okay, so part 2 is talking about sensitivity for this objective function. So this sensitivity objective function basically langkah, but the first step is you have to convert or transform the linear programming into the format of y equal to mx plus c. There are other ways, but I want to show you the way that I shared with you earlier. For example, ini langkah pertama is example this. I need to change to the format of what I intend to find is C1 and C2. Sensitivity range for variable x1, sensitivity range for coefficient of variable x2. I repeat because the earlier one I mentioned already. And this is recording, no choice. So C1 referring to the sensitivity range of constant or coefficients for x1. C2 refer to sensitivity range for the constant or coefficients of x2. So the first step, I need to convert or transform the linear programming into this format. Example, I might just do one. I just do the objective function. You need to do the same thing for the constraint. So what should I do? I think you know. So I need to move x2 to my left. So end up at this. 9x2 minus z, because z is from left to the right. But this is not what I want. I want x2. I don't want negative. I want negative. I want x2. But I start with moving sort of like change to x2 first. But this is still not what I want. I want positive, not negative, because y equal to mx. So once again, I change to this. Okay, and then negative become positive. Why I doing this? So there's only one objective, because I want to know the gradients for the objective function as well as the gradient for the constraint. This one clear, right? So I will not do the constraint line, but it's in the answer scheme. So if you convert the constraint line correctly, you should get the gradient for constraint line and gradient for constraint 2. My advice to you is don't simplify. Don't simplify the gradient, right? But over here, I calculate the gradient for one purpose, because step 1 is convert the linear programming to y equal to mx plus c in order for you to know the gradient for each of the linear programming items. You should not simplify, but I did a simplification here in order for me to go to step 2, because I want to do a quick check. Why I need to do a quick check? I want to see whether does the sensitivity range consists of upper limit or lower limit, or just one limit. So what I will do is, as what I told you earlier, not earlier, means last week, arrange the gradient in ascending order. So example, this is negative 1.28. So I try to arrange. So this is negative. The next is negative 3. If this is negative 1.28, negative 3 must be somewhere here. Okay. And The next one is negative 0.5. It must be somewhere here. So apparently, the gradient for objective function is, oh, my neighbor. The gradient for objective function is between the gradient of the two constraints. That indicated that my sensitivity range, there's a lower spec and there's an upper spec. There are two specs. Some of you might do it different ways. Some of you might ignore. It's not my house, or it's my neighbor's house. Renovation, non-stop for months. Example, I use positive. That's 1.28. 3, 0.5. It's the same thing. I have a limit. It's the same thing. The objective function gradient is at the median, at the center, and then the gradient for the two constraints is in one of the sides. What does it mean? It means that the sensitivity range that I'm going to identify, there is a limit. There is a limit at the upper and the lower end. But we still don't know which one is upper, which one is lower. So up to here, understand? You must do this quick check. This quick check is not found in any of the book. No, this quick check is my method. I bet you couldn't find this method in the book. All right, so faham until here? Okay,
Doktor.
Yes, go ahead.
Kalau macam this question, yang constraint yang kedua tu, dia 40 bagi 4 ke 40 bagi 8 ke?
Mana?
Yang 4x1 plus 8x.
Oh, your mata very sharp. Mata slide ini dah pakai banyak semester, tak ada orang detect. Oh, good. You're not the first batch that saya explain guna slide ini. You're good, very good. Even section 1 also tak ada orang detect. Bagus. Your eye very sharp. 8, okay. Tapi the focus is gradient. If I remember correct, nanti sampai tutorial 2, I will teach you a method that you can find the gradient easily without go through the y equal to mx plus c. Okay, now continue. So now I know that I want to find C1 and C2, and then C1 and C2 is like this. C1 and C2 like this. I will start with C1 first. I'll start with C1 first. So I start with C1 first means I want to find C1. So C2, I use back C2. All right. So I should have C1, okay, ratio right. Okay, equal to here. 12. If you want to use negative, also can negative, but in the end will be positive. Then another one is C1. So you see, what I'm interested is only the gradient, not this. So from here you can calculate C1 is equal to upper, C1 is equal to upper. All right, you can calculate from here. Then I will go to the next slide. So far okay. So whatever they explained earlier dekat sini lah. Okay, C1, okay. C1 dekat sini. So calculated. The first C1 you get is 21. The second C1 is 3.5. So I already explained up to here just now. I only didn't calculate the C1. This slide calculated. The first C1 21, the second C1 3.5. So you can start right down. C1. Okay. What is the original C1? Oh, never mind. Indicate, what 21 and 3.5. What you want to put here? 3.5 or 25? Yeah, logic. So okay, you get the first answer. You get the first answer. So for C2 because again C1, C2. So I want to find C2, I fix C1. So I have 9 C2 equal to 12.4. So I can find C2. Here I can have 9 C2, yes, 8. 9 C2 equal to 4.8. Then I can identify another C2. If I do it, then I will get this. If I calculate, I will get this. Again, very straightforward. C2, 3 and 18 cannot be, you put 3 here, you must put 3 here. 18. Done. Selesai. Tutorial 1 for part 2. Ada soalan untuk ini? Okay. Tutorial 2 basically tutorial 2. Oh, tutorial 2 ini ada sikit tricky. Basically this is the farm example. The farm example. Okay, sebenarnya okay, you see that the first step is the same. The first step is I need initially what I share with you is to convert this into y equal to mx plus c. But I know like y equal to mx plus c, at the end easily for me to find m. How I know? M, I know this is what m is it? This m must be what if the coefficient for the x divide by coefficient of the x2, coefficient of x1 divided by x2. How about this? I can do convert, no? I can do use the y equal to mx. I know if 2 over 4. I can ignore the 16. You see, I know. Why I know is because this is the coefficient of x1 divided by coefficient x2. How about this? This is coefficient x1, x2. In test or final, if you do this method, it's fine for me also. No problem. If you can use this method, then it's okay. No problem. Huh? All right. Bear in mind, don't simplify. Theoretically you can simplify objective. You don't simplify objective. You can simplify the constraint theoretically. But if I'm telling student, example, I tell you that you can simplify constraint, you don't simplify objective. In the end, you might confuse. So therefore, I always say that don't simplify the gradient. Don't simplify. The way that the reason I calculate here is for me to do the quick check. Oh, now interesting. If I sort of calculate this is equal to 2, and 0.5 is smaller than 2, 1.33 is smaller than 2. Oh, means if I try to plot, do a quick check. If this is 2, my objective function, the next one is 0.5. Maybe here. And this is constraint, constraint 1. Then another one is 1.33. This is constraint 2. The scenario now different from the previous example. Now indicated that my sensitivity, my gradient for objective function is towards the upper end. This suggested that for my sensitivity range, I only have one limit. Because no limit here, right? Nothing here, right? Am I right? I only have one limit. Okay. So if you want to calculate limit, which one should I use? Should I calculate my limit using C1 or C2? Why C2? Closer, exactly, Chris, you're right. I explained this before in my class. I saying that if this is KL, now this JB, I like JB. If saying that example, there's one announcement saying that, oh, now you can go up to Malacca. There's another announcement saying that you can go up to KL. Oh, the place says better you do go to KL, you go to Malacca. Because you go to Malacca, you comply both announcements. If you go KL, you again want an announcement. So it's what Chris mentioned, the closer, bukan the smaller, the bigger, the closer. So by saying so, when I want to calculate the limit, because there's only one limit, I will not use constraint 1. Because constraint 1 is no more the limit, has been limited by constraint 2 before I go into constraint 1. Therefore, don't use this as a limit. Okay, only use this as a limit. I think I continue calculate here better. So first, I want to find C1 first. C1. So if I want to find C1, I fix C2 as 3. So C1 3 equal to, don't use this, no more, I use this. 4, 3. So in this case, C1, I get, what is that? 4. 4, right? Correct. So where should I put C1? Upper or lower? Upper or lower? You see, I'm erasing something. What is the original C1? The original number for C1 is 6. So 4 is bigger than 6 or smaller than 6. So this originally is 6. So 4 must be here. If 4 is here, here must be infinity. Understand? Okay, so whatever they explained tadi, sorry, sometimes mix up. Whatever they explained earlier are all in the notes. In the note, sama dekat semua in the note. Hanya dia tak tulis Melaka dengan KL lah. Okay, whatever the calculated pun sama. And then dapat ini. How about C2? C2, if I want to calculate C2, I fix C1. Then if 6, then C2 equal to, again, do new this. Okay, so C2 equal to, if you calculate C2, you will get 4.5. Okay, you calculate, you will get 4.5. Then we start trying to define C2. C2. Where should I put 4.5? Upper or lower? You refer to the original C2. Original C2 is 3. 3. 3, right? 3. So, therefore, you should put. So, if upper here, what are you going to put? 1, 0. 1, 0. Is it there? Because here, we say f for x2. Okay, yeah? All right, 0. Done. Understand? How? Understand? Understand? Okay, yeah? However, any one of you try to key in this into Microsoft. How any one of you try to key in this to QN window and try to find the solutions? Never try or yes? Yes. You should try, right? Then you can know whether the solution correct. If you key into QN window, surprisingly, QN window, the answer is not 0. The answer will be negative infinity. But in the QN window, because initially QN window instruction saying that this constant no need to key in. Am I right? This constant no need to key into QN window. All right. But at the end, when QN window calculate, QN window can suggest negative infinity. This is the recording section. I cannot say QN window stupid or whatever. But in reality, it is. So what I mean is that if you try to key into, I think I have. Yeah, you try to key in the solution, not solution. You try to key in this into QN window. Okay, semua sama. The rest all the same. Semua sama. Okay. However, dia akan propose negatif sometimes. Yang ni dia okay. Yang ni okay. Dia kosong. Dia tak propose negatif. Yang negatif itu maybe at the right hand side value. Nanti sometimes you propose negative. Negative is incorrect. There will be no negative lah. Every of that we want to be more than 0. Okay. So that is for part 2. Ada soalan tak untuk part 2?
Doktor,
Yes.
yang kan better tak payah simplify kan doktor, tapi tu untuk ingredient untuk gradient je ke dengan dia punya C sekali?
Semua.
Oh, semua.
Okay, dia macam ni kan. Zarifah dah sebenarnya macam ni. Kalau you baca buku akan cerita. Buku akan cerita yang ini jangan simplify. Kalau you simplify ini, kalau tak percaya you pergi test, you simplify ini nanti mungkin dapat jawapan tak sama. Tetapi buku kata yang ini dengan ini boleh simplify. Tetapi pada saya lebih baik I beritahu student jangan simplify. If not you will confuse. You get me? Therefore, at the beginning, saya dah kata, jangan simplify. But soalannya mungkin, if I don't simplify, why calculate this? I calculate this is not for other purpose. My calculate this is for you to do the quick check. Lah. So don't simplify. Simplify, you don't believe me, you go and simplify. You will get a different answer, but in some cases, huh? Okay.
Doktor, thank you.
Okay. Ada soalan lain untuk yang ini? Oh, good lah, this section. Tak banyak soalan. Yes. Yes. Here, like this. Then infinity. So, okay, regardless of either sensitivity for right hand side, sensitivity for what? Okay, we're talking about this. There, regardless of constraint 1 or constraint 2. Okay, if it's one-sided, you have a number here. Example, you have 50 here or 50 here. Then the other side, if there's no limit, the upper limit must be infinity. The lower side, if there's no limit, then the limit must be 0. All right? So next is we go to chapter 3. How many tutorial we have in chapter 3? 1, I think. 1, okay. Oh, okay. This one I don't want to tell you first. See whether it does feedback to me. Section 1 feedback to me. All right, okay. This is the tutorial. And this tutorial basically is to find the sensitivity range for right-hand side value. Okay. This tutorial is different from the example we discussed in the class. Replicate this, easy for discussion. If you refer to the example that I discussed in the class, the example that I discussed in the class, the optimum point was B. In this question, optimum point was is A. But soalan that we discussed in the class, the example that I discussed in the class, the optimum solution is B. Therefore, we are sort of like changing the intercept at x1 and x2 based on point B. Kita tukar dia ni lah. In the example in our class, then example like how do I cannot draw the line properly? Let me draw the line again. Erase. Okay. Let me draw the line properly. Try my best. Is this the line? Okay. This was the example, bukan untuk soalan ni. So in the example in this class, the point is B. So if I sort of like changing the intercept by moving the line up and down, So you see, when moving this one up, at the end, I will touch this point. If I'm moving this one down, at the end, I will touch this point. Right? Am I right? Right. These are the 2 points. These are the 2 points for the. Sensitivity limit. Okay, that was the example that we discussed earlier. Okay, I recap. In order to find right-hand side sensitivity, katakan we have 2 constraints. Constraint 1, constraint 2. I recap on what I should share with you previously. If I want to find sensitivity range for right-hand side value for constraint 1, what I need to do is I find the 2 points that intersect at x1 and x2 for constraint 2. I repeat, kalau saya nak cari sensitivity range for constraint 1, I want to cari sensitivity range of right-hand side value for constraint 1. The next step, I need to find the 2 points that constraint 2 intercept at x1 and x2. Itu yang saya ajar kan, betul kan? Alright, still remember that? Okay. Now, you look at this. This is the tutorial. The tutorial is the optimum point is x a. What is the special thing? What is right-hand side value? Right-hand side value is, what is sensitivity range for right-hand side value? What is Q1? Q1 means the solution. Hey, my board is slanting, is it? The solution mix unchanged, no change. Okay, means optimum point A suggested that produce 0 basketball, produce 160 football. So now you see, now if I follow what I sort of share with you previously, now I want to find sensitivity range untuk constraint 1. Apa saya buat? I check, I identify 2 point that constraint 2 intersect at x1 dengan x2. Betul tak? Am I right? Betul lah. Tetapi which one is this constraint? This constraint supposed to be here. This constraint is here. Ni lah. Okay, this constraint here. So sepatutnya I need to identify these 2 points. Am I right? Betul kan? Tetapi you just see, tak kira regardless which point that I select on x2, tak kira I pilih point mana dekat x2, tak kira mana-mana, in the end x1 will equal to 0. Am I right? Yeah, correct. Solution mix unchanged. So what is the moral of the story? The implication is kalau optimum point is on paksi x1 or x2 means there's only one sub of sensitivity range, one limit of sensitivity range. Faham? I repeat that. If the optimum point dekat tengah-tengah, then ada 2 limit for sensitivity range. If the optimum point is at the or on the either paksi x1 or x2, then you only have 1 limit for the sensitivity range. Faham? Okay, good. Kalau faham yang subsequent slide itu dia lagi susah nak faham. Yang saya punya penerangan tadi lagi senang daripada ini. Yang ini dia leceh je, pusing. Dia kata tak kira macam mana you pusing. Tetap x1 will be 0. Tapi yang saya punya penerangan tadi lagi senang lah. Okay, by saying so means in order for me to find the sensitivity range for constraint number 1, okay, I only need to find one of the point. Point ini dah boleh ignore lah. Saya perlu find point satu lagi, which is this one. Right? Sebab apa saya tak ambil kira point ni? Sebab point ni still going to produce 0 basketball. So it's only 1 point. So I replace this 1 point into this constraint. Okay. So what is this? 3 x1 means 200 plus 2 0. Why? Because this point is 200 0. Okay, alright. Saya dapat 600. So again, now I want to check Q1. Where should I put? Should I put upper 600? Kita dah tentukan tadi bahawa hanya satu limit kan, sebab point di atas paksi X2. So it's only one limit. So only one limit maksudnya point ni tak boleh pakai. Hanya pakai satu point. And this point is 200, 0. I replace into the constraint dapat 600. 600 dah letak upper atau lower? Upper. Why upper? Bigger than 500. Bigger than 500. Original 500. So 600 bigger. Okay. So here, what should you put here? Zero lah. Don't put infinity lah. Kita tak boleh kata ini infinity, negative infinity kan. Tak boleh. Itu yang tadi saya kata, if you go for QM window, will propose you negative infinity. Tak lah, zero. Okay. So faham yang ini? Ada apa-apa komen tak? Ada siapa ada apa-apa komen? Ada apa? Ada siapa ada komen? Saya tunggu satu komen. Kalau tak ada orang komen ni saya sakit hati. Ini Wan? Tak ada. Alamak, tak ada. I was at the section of tutorial discussion with section 1. The solution for tutorial 3, saya uploaded, I think, yesterday. Tetapi the solution that I uploaded is not for the question of your tutorial 3. Saya salah upload tutorial solution untuk soalan lain. So if you download, okay, pendek kata, if you download the tutorial solution untuk tutorial 3 semalam, you have to ignore the solution. Solution itu bukan untuk soalan you, soalan yang lain. So pagi tadi saya dah upload semula tutorial solution untuk soalan ini. Saya berulang solution yang saya upload semalam bukan untuk soalan ini, untuk soalan lain. Saya tak perasan. Biasa saya tak check lah. Saya guna file yang saya ada, saya drag kepada e-learning. Tapi bila saya discuss dengan section 1, dia detected. Dia kata, apa yang saya discuss ini tak sama dengan yang saya upload ke e-learning. Then only I go back and check. Oh, okay, memang. Sebab itu bukan untuk soalan ini, soalan lain. Kalau you tak download lagi solution for tutorial 3, tanya lah. Maksudnya apa yang ada dekat e-learning memang dah betul lah. Okay, tapi tak patutnya download semalam, bukan tak download. So nobody detect it. Alright, so this is part of that. Then second ialah, if now I want to do constraint 2. Constraint 2 itu ialah the line that in the black color here lah, in the black color here. Sekali lagi we know, kalau optimum point ialah dekat X2, there's only one limit dan point ni jangan ambil kira. Before that, I want to find a sensitivity range for constraint number 2, Q2, in black color. In black color, the line of black color. Theoretically, the next step is I need to identify 2 points that another constraint intersect at part C, X, and Y. So theoretically, I must find these 2 points. Tetapi, as I told you, if the optimum point is on the X1 or X2, then there we need only single limit and this point can be ignored. So there's only one point, point C. What is point C? This is point C. This is point C. This is point C. So what you need to do is to replace point C into the constraint number 2. Constraint number 2, which is this is the one. 167 or 166.77 plus 5 0. What you will get? This one? Anyone? Okay, so where should I put 68? 2, this is 2. Nak lower atau apa? tengok semula dekat sini. Sini 800 kan. 800, 668 must be here. So here become infinity. Ya betul. Nampak. Lower. So dah lah. Dapat yang ni. Done. Okay. Okay. Again, whoever that you downloaded the solutions before today, before our class was at 12, is it? Before 12 o'clock today, if you, or maybe before 11:30, I can't remember lah. So you go and download the solution again. The solution that I downloaded yesterday, dia bukan salah. Dia solution bukan untuk soalan ini. Oh, dia bukan salah. Dia bukan untuk soalan ini. Dia untuk soalan satu lagi. Sebab dulu untuk yang senior you, I did what? I have the so like the solution for QN window lah, sama kan. Dia 666.6667 lah. Kita 66, okay lah. Not a big issue lah. Sebab kita dekat sini 16, to be 166.67, kita dah round out ke 168 lah. So it's the same lah. It's the same lah. Then 0600 kita pun jumpa 0600 lah. So it's alright lah. Okay. Okay. So what's the time lah? Oh, just nice lah. Good. Ada area yang tak clear tak? Tak ada? Sure. Chris, okay. Thinking, okay. Tak apa, not necessarily today, anytime during our class. If you're not clear, you just voice out. Okay, then I will sort of like explain to you, hey, where is e-learning? This is not e-learning, this is my email. Oh, here. Kehadiran kelas. Why it takes so long? Okay. What appear in front of you? Kita start pukul berapa tadi? 12 tak pening hari ni, terlalu banyak meeting lah. Itulah Thursday meeting ini, meeting itu. Banyak biasa meeting, banyak meeting dekat Thursday. Lepas tu biasa proposal defense, viva dekat Thursday. So, okay lah, on track, good. We in fact a little bit ahead of the schedule lah. Kita dah discuss sikit untuk transportation. So next week we talk about transportation, continue talking about transportation. Okay, so that's it again. Siapa yang download tutorial 3 solution semalam, ignore. That is not for the tutorial question that I asked you to do. It's for soalan yang lain. So you need to download again today. Tapi rasa macam semua tak download lagi lah. Tak ada orang yang detect. Dah download tapi tak baca. Haven't Oh, I thought dah download tapi tak baca. Oh, dah download. Dari file dah download tak detect ada tak sama. Tak apalah. Tak apa sebab you malam. Okey lah. Saya pun perlu so siapa yang ingat saya jawab salah. Oh, taklah. Mesti confidence sikit. So that's it lah. So kalau dah scan, you can leave the class sebab I might need to join another feedback yang tadi saya keluar dari meeting kan, tak tahu masih meeting tu masih on lagi tak tahu dia orang habis. Anyway, I need to check lah. So please can you siapa yang dah scan ini, see you again on next week, and then please leave the meeting so I can join another feedback.
Ya, doktor.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.